would you feel if your most precious photos and videos, they were just gone? It's a terrifying thought, but it's something that happens to people all the time. Either their computer crashes, a hard drive goes corrupt, something happens in this digital world that we live in, and they lose their data. Photos, videos, or digital documents, whatever it might be, they thought it was backed up and it wasn't. A hard drive like this crashes, and it's just gone. As a professional photographer and someone whose career depends on not losing data, if I was to lose someone's wedding photos, I guess my career would just be over. But also, just as a guy that takes a ton of photos and videos of my life, my wife, my kids, the idea of losing those, it makes me physically ill. And because it's that time of year when jobs kind of cool down, you start to look at things and go, oh, I need to organize my files. I am completely revamping my backup system, all new gear. And I thought I would take the chance to kind of walk you through what I'm doing. And while what I'm doing is obviously more intensive and more expensive, there's also a really simple concept that you guys can follow for whatever stage of everyday person to online creator to professional content creator. Wherever you're at on that scale, there's one simple concept for backing up your data that applies to everybody. Follow this one concept and you will never lose a single photo or video or document in your life. Before we jump into it though, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video and creator of what might be the perfect Christmas gift, Aura frames. Makers of these beautiful high-resolution digital photo frames that help you take the photos that live on your phone and your computer and bring them into real life. We have this one set up in our living room right now, and it's been so rad to see all these photos that have just been on our phones now just kind of popping up here and there. We have ours set to the lowest time interval, which is 15 seconds. So every 15 seconds, it swipes and it's a new photo. Look at that. See, that's a photo that we would never have printed and put on the wall, but I love this photo. We were at the airport and I don't know, it just pops up and I go, hey, that's great. And getting this frame set up is incredibly simple with the Aura app, but the coolest part about the app is that you can invite other people to add photos to your frame, and you can add photos to other people's frame through the Aura app. So you can get one of these for a parent or a grandparent, and you can load photos onto their frame from your app. My parents live in Tucson, we live in San Diego, so I can pull up the Aura app on my phone and I can click photos of my daughters, say load onto their frame, and it will load photos of my daughters onto their Aura frame in their living room. I'm not kidding, this might be the greatest Christmas gift that I could possibly give my wife or my parents. If you are also still looking for the perfect Christmas gift, shoot over to the first link in the description, use code DavidManning at checkout to save $10 off of one of their Carver frames. That's this one. It's the one we have set up in our living room, and it's awesome. As photographers, finding ways to get our photos into our real life so that they're not just on our phones, that's the goal, man. The goal is to see the photos that we took. Okay, now we know how to display our photos in our home. Let's talk about how we back them up with a really simple rule called the 3-2-1 rule. This is the concept that applies to everyone from just everyday person living in a digital world to a professional photographer. The 3-2-1 rule goes like this: 3 copies of your data, 2 stored locally on separate drives, and 1 in the cloud. Now, at the most simple form, it looks like this. You shoot over to Costco and you pick up 2 hard drives like this, and then you grab your favorite cloud server of choice. Either this is Dropbox or Google Drive, or the one that we're gonna talk about today, which is the one that my entire new system will be backed up to, but some form of cloud storage backup. You are then going to take any new photos that you shoot and you are going to copy them to this hard drive. You're gonna copy them again to this hard drive and copy them for a third time to, again, your cloud server of choice. Once that's done, you can now delete this card. You could format this card and you are totally safe. So your files now live in 1, 2, 3 backups. 2 of those being physically, these are sitting on your desk, or they're in your house, but they are on separate drives. That's super important. Don't do the whole, it's on one drive, but I copied it twice thing, because the whole idea is that hard drives fail. They fail all the time. And this system is protecting against hard drive failure. So this third one being the cloud is like the best thing ever. Back in the day, like way back when I started, cloud storage wasn't easy. Internet speeds weren't super fast like 15 years ago. So what I would do back then was I had 3 hard drives like this, and I would copy them to 1, 2, 3 hard drives. I would keep 2 in my house, and I would take the third one and I would keep it outside in my car, thinking if my house was to get broken into or my house was to burn down, I would lose those 2 drives, but I had a backup in my car. And yeah, that was my offsite data. That was my offsite storage 15 years ago. But now we've got things like Dropbox and Apple Files and Google, what's the Google one? Google Drive. We've got all those options. And in addition, again, to the one that I'm gonna be using that I'll talk about in a minute here, if you follow, everyone should be doing this. Like I need to get my parents to take all their digital data and do this exact same thing, because a lot of people think that their data is backed up when it's not. A lot of people will have like a hard drive fail or their computer will crash and they'll be like, I'm pretty sure that was backed up somewhere. Where do I find it in the cloud? And if you didn't set that up properly, it's not. So what am I using? What's like my more intensive version? This is what I'm gonna do, and it's, yeah, if you want to get crazy with me and just have a super dope backup system, you can do this too. Okay, my first drive is going to be this guy. I just picked this thing up. This is the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD that can do 2,000 megabyte read speed and 2,000 megabyte per second write speed, which that's absurd. It was on sale on Black Friday, so I finally pulled the trigger. Normally they're like $1,000. I think it was on sale for like 400 bucks. So this will be my working drive. This will be where my Premiere Pro projects will live, where my Lightroom catalogs will live. Everything that I'm currently working on will live on this hard drive plugged into my computer. I don't store working files internally on my computer because it just puts more strain on that computer, having to constantly load files and then offload files later when it fills up. So choosing a super fast SSD hard drive, it's perfect as a working drive. Storage copy number 1. And while I used to use a lot of these kind of drives from Costco, these 8 terabyte hard drives, they are great for your system. I've switched recently to this guy. Look at this thing here. This is the OWC dual drive dock. And this is just gonna live on my desk like this, plugged into my computer. And the cool thing about this is that then you just take like these big internal hard drives and you just pop them in there like that. And now this hard drive is loaded onto my computer. So inside of these guys right here, like the Costco or just like retail version, this is all just a plastic case around what is inside of this, which is this guy. And you can get sweet deals on these, whether it's Black Friday or the New Year's, whatever deals, holiday is coming up, look for these hard drives. You can get some smoking deals. This one right here is an Iron Wolf NAS 8 terabyte. I don't know how much I picked it up for, but I know it was cheap. So instead of having a bunch of these laying around, I'll have a bunch of these guys, plug it in. And the nice thing too is that there is 2 bays on the OWC, so I can plug, upside down. I can plug 2 of these in, and now boom, I have 16 terabytes. They are separate drives though, so when they pull up on my computer, they look like 2 separate drives. And I will just be using one of these at a time. So this will be my 1 local storage, and then I'll just have 1 in there, and that'll be my second backup. My third backup's a clever one, and it is these guys. Backblaze. Have you guys heard of Backblaze? Backblaze is an amazing online storage solution, online cloud solution, and I think it's like $7 or $8 a month. I think it's $7 a month if you pay annually, and they back up everything. So they back up my entire computer, the entire contents of my computer, and any hard drives that I have plugged into it that I've selected and said, yeah, back that up also, it just backs it up automatically in the background. So this third cloud backup, I don't need to like actively say copy files, copy files, copy files. I'll just have this working drive selected as a backup through Backblaze. So again, this will always be plugged into my computer. This guy will usually be plugged in, but if I go somewhere, if I go to a coffee shop to work or something like that, this guy will still be plugged in, and Backblaze will always be backing up this hard drive. So I will have 1, 2, 3 copies of that data. 2 of them will live locally, and this one just lives with me at all times. And again, 1 being my offsite. So 3, 2, 1. That's the simple system. This satisfies the requirement for that 3, 2, 1 concept, but I bought something that I think it's gonna make life better for me. This right here is the OWC Thunder Bay 8, and she's a beast. This is a DAS hard drive setup, and essentially what we've got in here, get that front panel off, we have 8 slots in here for hard drives. So inside here is just a bunch of hard drives. And for those hard drives, I went big, guys. When I explain why I have this, it'll make sense, but check. Inside of there is a bunch of these guys, 18 terabytes each, and there's 8 of them. 18 times 8, 144 terabytes is in here technically, but it's in what's called a RAID 5 setup. And if you're familiar with RAID, how RAID works is these 8 hard drives are gonna be together and they're gonna look like one hard drive to my computer. So all 8 hard drives kind of working together to look like one giant hard drive. But because I've configured them as RAID, it means that any one of these 8 could fail. And if one drive fails and I go, oh, this drive, it broke, it's not working, I can just pop this guy out, go buy a new hard drive, slide it back in here, and the other 7 hard drives that are still working are able to recreate what was on that hard drive and rewrite back to it. It's the weirdest thing, I don't understand it at all. It has something to do with some fancy algorithm. But what happens is, instead of having all 8 hard drives, 144 terabytes, I lose 1 hard drive's worth of storage. So this would be a 126 terabyte device, which again, it just looks like a 126 terabyte hard drive to my computer. My computer doesn't see 7 or 8 hard drives here. It just sees one big ass hard drive. And this thing can reach speeds of over 2,500 megabytes read and write speed because it has a Thunderbolt 3 cable that I can plug into my computer. Now I won't see those speeds because the hard drives that I'm putting in there can't achieve those speeds, but you can find, there's SSD hard drives that can plug into here. So you could theoretically fill all 8 bays with an SSD hard drive and you could see speeds like that. These hard drives will not see speeds anywhere near that. Now you might be asking 2 questions. 1, why do you have this if you've already achieved the 3-2-1 with this guy, with the dual dock and with Backblaze? Why add this into your life? But what this is gonna be for is kind of a repository for every final photo and video that I have ever shot my whole life, really. I was gonna say my career, and because 15 years worth, I have a ton of photos and videos, but I'm also gonna have pretty much every photo I've ever shot in my life will fit on here. And now that's the final JPEG version. So because they're in JPEG format, I can just fit a bazillion on here. Whereas RAW files take up more data. But this is gonna be something that I can plug into my computer at any point. I'll probably have it plugged in mostly, and at any time I want, again, I can access every photo and video I've ever shot, which is cool. Oh, and this will be plugged into Backblaze as well. So this whole thing, all 126 terabytes, will be backing up to Backblaze. I won't have that much on it, but I have a bunch. Okay, that is my new setup going forward. That is the 3-2-1 rule. What do you guys think though? Is this helpful for you? Is it helpful to see this 3-2-1 backup system? Again, this is for anyone. This isn't just for professionals. Every single person in this entire digital world that we're living in should have all of their digital world backed up to 3 locations, 2 physically on site, 1 off-site. Let me know what you guys think. Are you doing this? Do you already have a 3-2-1 backup, or has this made you kind of rethink your system and go, oh, I should revamp my system? This is a great time of year to do it. Get this all done in these next couple weeks. Do all your kind of house cleaning, and then right back off into 2023. All right, I'll see you guys soon. So 126 terabytes is 126,000 gigabytes, and 126,000 gigabytes is 126 million megabytes. And if each JPEG file is like about 5 megabytes or so, like, look at that. I can store over 25 million JPEGs on this new thing. That is awesome.